Okay, so I successfully registered for my DBI courses, and I've picked out what I want to start off with for my first course. How do I get all that information onto my computer and have it in a way that's organized and makes some kind of sense to me? Well, the best way is to create a file where you can put all your work into it and then organize it by your different classes, and this video is going to walk you through how to do that. There's a couple ways that I can start to do that. The first one is to find my file folder on my taskbar. You might have that, like I do, up here at the top, and we'll just zoom in a little bit so you can see that better. It also might be on the side or the bottom. But if I click once, a left click on that picture of that file folder, I'll see that it opens up and I have access to my libraries. I have my documents library, my music library, pictures library, and videos library. Most likely, I'm going to want to put it in either documents or music, since most of my files are going to be MP3 files, which are the lectures, or PDF files, which will be my documents, my classwork, my study guide questions, and so forth. But let's say for argument's sake that you don't have a file folder in your taskbar. It's not a problem. There's another way to do it. I'm going to X out of this file, and I'm going to go over to my Start button, which you'll see right here is in the little window shape. If I click on that Start button, off here to the side I have those same libraries, my documents, pictures, music, games, and so forth. I'm going to choose music since most of my files are going to be audio files for my lectures. So there you can see my music library has opened up, and I want to create a new file in it. How do I do that? No problem. I find some space where I'm not directly over any of the names, and I click my mouse on a right click, and this window pops up asking me what I want to do. I have a lot of choices there. I can view things, I can paste things. I want to go all the way down to new. It'll open another box saying, what new thing do you want to create? Well, I want to create a new folder. So I'm going to just slide that cursor from over new to over full. I'm going to left click it once, and you'll notice up in this folder that it's created a brand new folder in my music library, and it's just called it new folder. Since this is where all my DBI courses are going to be, I'll just call this DBI classes. Now, this is what I've told I wanted to call it. I'm going to click outside of where I've just typed in. Anywhere over here, for instance, will work. And what you'll see is that's going to move. Mine's organized alphabetically, so it jumps up right above DBI lectures. C comes before L, so it's right there. Yours might be by size or most recent. There's a number of different ways. It should be somewhere in there. Okay? Now if I want to change the name of this, if I want to call it DBI Studies or DBI Classwork, if I left click twice slowly, 1, 2, I can then highlight this and change it and call it whatever I want. But DBI Classes works for me, so I'm going to stay with that. So I'm just going to come over here out of the way, left click once again, and we're going to keep calling it that. But I know what my first class is, so I want to create a folder inside of this folder. That way I can keep my Romans work separate from my Hebrews work, or maybe I want to take a class on evangelism and making disciples. So I want different folders for that. My first one's going to be Romans though, so to open this up and make a Romans folder inside my DBI classes folder, I'm going to left click with 2 clicks on that folder. You'll notice it'll come up and it's going to tell me this folder's empty. Of course, I just created it. So how do I create another folder in here? The same way I did before. I'm going to go ahead and do it anywhere inside this box. We'll do it right next to where it says this folder is empty. And I'm going to right click my mouse and I have that same box come up. I'm going to go down to new like I did before. Let my mouse cursor hover right over it. I'm going to see that other box open up. I'm going to see folder again. I'm just going to move that mouse right over to folder. I'm going to left click on folder, and lo and behold, there's my new file, or my new folder called new folder. Since my first course is Romans, I can call it Romans. If perhaps though you've got a lot of studies in Romans or a lot of folders in it, maybe you've been studying the Bible for a while, I could call it DBI Romans. That way I know I can always search for it and find it very easily. And we'll talk about searches in other videos. Once I've decided that's what I want to call it, I click anywhere else in this box, and now I've created that file called DBI Romans. If I choose to double left click on this file, I'm going to see it open up, And up the top you'll see libraries, music, DBI classes, Romans. Again, the folder's empty. We're going to fill this up with our lectures, our study guide questions, the paper we work on, any research we do, anything that has to do with our DBI Romans class. That's all for this video. On the next one, we're going to talk about how you can fill this up with all those different things that are going to make your DBI experience wonderful. Again, if you have any questions, always go back to www.desertbibleinstitute.org.